Okay, this is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com. I'm going to look at a piece of public land here for a commenter that had asked me to take a look at it. This it's a pretty good sized piece of public land. I call it it's a what I consider it's a decent sized piece of public land. It's not large by any means, because we have some public land in my home state that is huge. But depending on the different states and stuff, this may be a pretty good sized piece of land. I'm not going to give it away. It's a few thousand acres plus. I'll say that. But anyways, we have some that are a couple 100,000 acres plus, and them are huge though. But anything, I think, getting into this is got some good size to it where some deer can find some secure areas, especially some older bucks. They should be able to find some areas to get away from, some people and have some areas to hide where it'll hold a few good mature bucks on this property. So the thing is, first thing I want to recommend, if you're hunting a spot like this and you got a decent sized public land that you're hunting, I just want to recommend my finding and hunting pressured nocturnal rutting bucks on public land, because that course, if you have a decent sized land, that course is really going to talk about how the deer react to hunting pressure and the way that they move and they go to other spots. I just want to recommend that course. If you are hunting public land, or if you have a pretty good sized patch of property that you can hunt, I highly recommend that course because it can be very valuable. But this land that we're looking at it's basically in between this power line and this river, and you see it runs up here. It's a pretty good sized piece of land. But one thing, and then there's another section, another part of it that runs up through there. But I'm kind of keeping it zoomed in so it doesn't show any towns around it. Definitely just give it away. But you can notice that there's some agriculture going on. Looks like a lot of hardwoods. You've got some pines, and these pines, I zoomed in on them already and looked at them. They look like they could possibly be a little thick, possibly. They got a patch of hardwoods that run down through them. Looks like a creek bottom, maybe a dry creek or something that runs up through it. I couldn't tell for sure. And what has been thinking it might not be is it doesn't look like a creek that's running through this. I don't know if this has been logged, if this is just a shell pit here, whatever. But you could possibly have some thick area here. The other thing I noticed is this thing has a lot of small dry creeks or small creeks that run through this area. It's got several roads that run up through there. You can see one here that runs back into here. Maybe it looks like some type of maybe some food plots that the local game and fish have put in or whatever. I do notice when I zoom into this, I do notice a lot of greenery. And this picture here was taken April, so I guess everything should naturally start greening up. But I noticed a lot of greenery right in this area here. So that's telling me that the sunlight is probably penetrating the ground here and allowing some undergrowth to grow up that's definitely green. So maybe some food source, maybe some honeysuckle, some privet, stuff like that. Guys, that stuff deer will feed on in the winter. You've got some running down through here. It looks like maybe the trees are starting to green. I'm going to switch times on these pictures and look at this. So now we're back at, this is in the middle of, here's one in this is December. Wow, that is awful green for December. Now that's not going to be a good picture. But anyways, definitely got some, possibly some areas down here. We'll go ahead and go back to the original picture. I think it's the best one. We know these are hardwoods with some scattered pines here and there. But anyways, what I did notice is on the riverbank, down here on the riverbank, this here looks fairly thin. This type of area here, you got to do some scouting in. I'm going to point out some spots that I would start, but I can't really point some stand locations other than I would highly suggest scouting it quite a bit, and I can pinpoint possible stand locations, but there's not any well-defined funnels or anything that you can really see on the aerial photo. But I am going to give some pretty good tips on this video here, so stick with it. First thing is I looked at this river, and I started looking up this river, and you can see how it gets shallow right here, but this is actually pretty deep over here. So what I started doing, and I'm going to go ahead and scroll out a little bit so we can move up it quick. I just looked up the river, and then you notice here, looks like there was an old beaver dam or something here. But what I noticed is this kind of shallow here. You may have some deer crossing here. I mean, they can cross anywhere. What I'm going to do, if I'm going to get in here, if it was me, I would really like to walk this riverbank. I know it's a long walk, but do it on a nice day or whatever that you ain't got nothing else to do. Walk this riverbank and find where some deer are crossing. I've got a couple spots where I'm pretty sure they're going to be crossing pretty good. One of them is here, and the reason is, and you can use aerial photos to see this, the reason I think it is because they can cross this pretty much without doing much swimming. They can basically walk across it looks like. These are definitely rocks or stumps, or there's something sticking up out of the water. So this is shallow where the deer can pretty much get across it pretty quick and easy. But as you walk this bank, you'll see where the deer are crossing. It'll be well defined. It'll have the bank tore up, and it'll kind of, you may have like a part of a steep bank, and it'll get where it's really easy. Wherever it was really easy would be easy. Here's another spot right here where the deer could cross, especially if these fields are a good food source and these deer are coming out in there. They may cross this river here. And there's one more spot up here that looks like a really good crossing, and it's right in here, and possibly right in here. They may be able to just walk right across this. I'm not sure on that, but my first thing one area I would be interested in would be walking this river. And I know it's a few mile walk. You could break it up into some sections. One day walk part of it, and see where them deer are crossing this river, and stuff like that. The other reason I would like to walk it is because I think you're going to find some pretty thick areas along it, and that's typical of a riverbank or creek, river bottoms and creek bottoms. Right on the edges of them, you'll find some pretty good thick, because this looks pretty bare, but most likely the sun's hitting it good. And I see some brushy stuff. You see some brushy stuff? You can see that there's some type of brush, but you've got the large trees here and large trees here. But that may be a good swath of some bedding area, some good feeding area, maybe some good, honeysuckle, things like that. And another typical thing, and then back in here, and then maybe like a little food plot that they have put in. Some areas like that are some pretty good interest. And I'm going to zoom in here again. And you see the terrain? Did you see the terrain here? If I zoom in any more, let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. See the terrain on that? One thing that happens a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize, is this is usually fairly easy walking on these edges, these banks. And what happens, a lot of times when a buck's in rut and he's really cruising for does, they will use areas like this to cruise up and down, because they can cover some ground pretty quick. He can scent check where a lot of does where they've crossed. He can scent check this crossing. He can scent check if this is bedding area here. If this is, he can scent check, especially if the wind's coming out of there. He can scent check these fields and stuff as he moves quick. He can scent check if this is a food plot. Maybe there's bedding area here on these ridges. some of this thicker area down in here, he can move quickly. The other areas, so I would definitely want to check out that riverbank for more than one reason. One reason is definitely that deer use them a lot. The other reason is it's kind of out of the way. It's kind of secluded a little bit because there is several roads that run down in through here. But anyways, I would definitely want to check that, especially in these areas that's back out away from a few things. Okay, the other thing is some of these dry creeks. So you could always break it up and say you wanted to check this north part, you walk this out, and then you walk this dry creek here. Walk this dry creek here, and look at that. You'll notice where these deer are crossing this creek, and then one thing you'll find out is a lot of times you may have old rub lines or even fresh rubs now up and down this river, or a lot of times I see them up and down creeks. They're running parallel with the creek, and what reason that is them bucks use them for travel corridors up and down because they can move down them pretty quick, usually fairly easy, and a lot of times there's lots of times there's some food that get around them because them allow opening areas where the sun can penetrate and things like that, and look around. I really can't pinpoint and say, hey, I'd put a stand right here. If I was going to try to do that, it would be, maybe, a stand like in here somewhere where I could catch deer crossing this river. I mean, I could also catch deer coming down through here, up and down the river, and, something like that, and maybe kind of catch them working these creeks that dump into this and stuff, because a lot of times bucks will use them. If I was going to put another stand, it's possibly going to be in these areas here if this is really thick. And I have a course on timing where I talk about timing and hunting pressure mature bucks, and I talk about a lot of stuff in the course. But one thing I talk about is hunting bedding areas and different times and stuff. And here's another location. It's here where these deer may be crossing, especially if these are food sources over here. They may be crossing. If this is thick, bedding up in there, it looks like it could possibly be thick because I can see the ground in several patches. Maybe not here. This doesn't look thick, but I can see the ground all up through here. And this section here, I can see the ground in a lot of areas. Then you have this hardwood patch. So basically, I'm sorry I couldn't really pinpoint some areas to put some stands. If I was going to pinpoint some, it would be them areas there. If I was going to pinpoint some, I really can't because it's a pretty large wooded area with not a lot of funnels. But if I was going to, just go in and hunt blind, actually, if I was just to say, hey, I'm going to come hunt this a week. Okay, I had 1 week to hunt this. I'm going to spend the first couple days finding me some spots, and the first thing I'm going to do is walk this river. That's the very first thing I'm going to do, because if there is a lot of hunting pressure on here, and if, let's say, the deer are getting pushed plumb off the property, the big bucks are getting pushed plumb off the property, they're still going to use this and come in here, especially in the rut. They're going to come in here at night and do their thing, breed the does, whatever. If they're getting pushed plumb off the property, the most apt place to catch them in the daytime is going to be on this river. As all the hunters come swamping in and putting that pressure on, he's going to come back and cross that river. So that's just going to be mine. If I had 7 days to hunt it, and I came in my first day, I'm going to walk out that river, completely walk that river out. I would completely walk that entire river from the beginning all the way down to here. I know it's a long ways, but I would walk it out, and then I would come up and walk up and down some of these creeks. I'm going to find some, areas where I can, see some old rub lines, some fresh rub lines, depending on the time of the year. And then, the timing also has effect. And like I said, I have a course on that. But The timing is going to make a difference in locations that you'd want to hunt as well. Because if it's early season, the deer are not as pressured, and they act a lot different as during the rut, and depending on what type of trees and things you have in here, because you may have some patches of white oaks, patches of different types of oak trees along this river that these deer are feeding on and stuff. But anyways, the main thing on this here is I'm going to get out, scout this out, and I'm going to find me some places that I feel confident, and it's going to take some walking. If you're going to get into some big bucks, if you're wanting the big bucks, it's going to take some extra work. But the deer, period, they're going to feel the hunting pressure, and they're going to get away from it. It's that simple. Even if they have to cross it and get over here on places that are less hunted, or get back on this wherever they have to go, they're going to get away from that hunting pressure. And one good thing is if you're willing to do the work, there's a lot of people that won't take that extra step and go that extra distance to find them deer. This is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate the commenter asking me to look at it. I enjoyed it. I hope it helps you out. Guys, I hope it helps everybody that watches this to look for areas and things like that. And I talk a little bit about how the hunting pressure is going to affect the deer in here. But guys, in my courses, I really go into great detail in finding and hunting nocturnal and pressured bucks. I really go into areas that they actually go to avoid the hunting pressure. And timing them out, I go into the different timing of the year and areas that they'll be in, places they'll be using and stuff like that. Them are really good courses for hunting public land. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com. I hope you can take something away from it. Check out DeerHuntingSchool.com for more tips and information and things like that on deer hunting. Have a good day, and bye-bye.